It all began in a small rural town where silence at night was so heavy you could hear the crickets sing. But one night, the silence was broken by the sound of a rope tightening against a wooden beam in the barn. For 47 terrifying seconds, a young farm girl dangled between life and death. Her name was Lily May, and she had been pushed to the edge by those who thought cruelty was just another form of entertainment. Lily was 16, the daughter of hard-working parents who tilled their small farm every day. She was bright, soft-spoken, and always wore a quiet smile, but her modest life made her an easy target at school. Her classmates mocked her hand-me-down clothes, her calloused hands, and the faint smell of hay that clung to her after morning chores. She never complained, but behind that gentle smile was a heart that carried scars invisible to the world. The bullies didn't just stop at words. They escalated to pranks, tripping her in the hallway, stealing her books, and leaving cruel notes in her locker. Lily endured it, believing her silence was strength. But the cruelty reached a new height one spring afternoon when the group of bullies followed her home. Laughing, they cornered her in the barn, where she had gone to feed the animals. "Let's see how a farm girl hangs," one of them sneered, holding a rope meant for hay bales. They tied the rope loosely around her neck, thinking it was just a sick joke. But jokes can turn deadly. When they kicked the stool away, panic flooded Lily's body. For 47 horrifying seconds, she fought for air, her feet kicking desperately against the air. The bullies froze. Some laughed nervously, others realized too late the danger of what they had done. Just as Lily's vision began to fade, the barn door burst open. Her younger brother, Tom, barely 12, had heard the commotion. Without hesitation, he screamed and rushed forward, cutting the rope with a pocketknife their father had given him. Lily collapsed into his arms, coughing, her eyes filled with terror and tears. The bullies scattered like rats, their laughter silenced by the gravity of what almost happened. For Lily, however, the damage was already done, not just the rope burns on her neck, but the deep wound carved into her spirit. The following weeks were some of the hardest for the family. Lily refused to go back to school. She couldn't sleep without nightmares. Every creak of the barn door made her flinch. Her parents were devastated, torn between anger at the bullies and guilt for not protecting her sooner. Tom, her little brother, stayed close by her side, determined to keep her safe. But one evening, while sitting by the fields at sunset, her father told her something that changed her perspective. He held up his rough, calloused hands and said, "These hands have been broken, cut, and scarred 1,000 times. But every mark tells a story of survival. Lily, those burns on your neck aren't marks of shame. They're proof you lived, you beat them, and you're stronger than they'll ever be." Those words sparked something inside Lily. She realized that her survival wasn't just luck, it was strength. She decided she wouldn't let those 47 seconds define her as a victim. Instead, she would rise as a survivor. With her family's support, Lily reported everything. The investigation shook the town. Parents who thought their children were innocent were confronted with the ugly truth. The bullies faced consequences that stripped away their arrogance. For once, their laughter was silenced by accountability. But Lily's victory wasn't in seeing them punished. It was in reclaiming her own voice. She returned to school, not with the timid silence she once carried, but with courage. She joined a local youth group that spoke against bullying, sharing her story. For the first time, other kids came forward, confessing their own hidden struggles. Lily's barn, once a place of terror, was transformed. She and Tom painted its old wooden walls with bright colors, covering the shadows with light. She even hung the frayed rope on a nail, not as a reminder of pain, but as a symbol of triumph. "This rope," she told her friends one day, "didn't take my life. It gave me a reason to fight for it." The challenges weren't over. Healing wasn't instant. She still faced whispers, the occasional cruel glance, and the haunting memories that crept in at night. But she faced them differently now, not with fear, but with resilience. She learned that strength isn't about never breaking, it's about standing up even when the world tries to tear you down. And slowly, her story spread beyond the farm, beyond the school. People began to see her not as the girl who was bullied, but as the farm girl who survived, who turned 47 seconds of terror into a lifetime of purpose. By the time she graduated, Lily was no longer just a farmer's daughter. She was a symbol of hope in her community. At the ceremony, she wore a dress her mother had sewn, simple yet beautiful, with her scars visible and unapologetic. When she took the stage to speak, she didn't just thank her family and teachers. She looked out into the crowd and said, "To anyone who feels small, broken, or forgotten, you are more than the cruelty you endure. You are stronger than the rope, stronger than the pain, and stronger than those who try to silence you." The crowd erupted in applause, not out of pity, but out of respect. And so, what began as 47 seconds of despair became a lifetime message of resilience. Lily's story stood as a reminder: even when darkness tries to steal your breath, the light within you can burn brighter than ever.